Hello, everyone. So, today I want to provide some relief. I know that the dating market is really crazy these days. A lot of people are saying that people don't want to settle down anymore, men are playing games. Sometimes they can't even get a date anymore in person or online. Men don't approach anymore. Nothing is working. Everyone just wants to be in some sort of ambiguous relationship. And I want to tell you that that's not true. Allow me to change your mind about that and allow me to ease your mind and let you know that you can find your person this year. You can get engaged fast with no nonsense, no situationships, no crossing your boundaries, no games, and you can do it with peace and you can do it with love without confusion. And I'm going to tell you exactly how and exactly what you need to do. But first, let me tell you my story. I got married very young when I was 20. I wasn't even 21 yet, probably a month away from my 21st birthday. And I didn't have family support. I wasn't close with my family. I didn't have a community of mentors, and the marriage fell apart. So I went back into the dating world, and it was a mess. I was, raised with a really loving father, and I expected men to treat me that same way. I expected them to want the best for me, to love me, to care about me, just by being myself. And when I found out that wasn't the case, it was a really rude awakening. It took me years to learn that lesson that nobody is going to have your back like you will have your back. That you have to be the advocate for yourself and really know exactly what you want, because if you don't know exactly what you want, you're going to fall into the plan of whatever man is in front of you. And that is not correct, and that will not set you up for the best future. So let's talk about the first thing to get down, and that's deciding your boundaries now before you get into a relationship, before you even go on a first date. Decide exactly what you want. And I want you to write this down, because in the future, once you're engaged, you're going to look back on this and you're going to think, oh my God, like I had everything written down, like thank goodness, and now I have it. And in fact, now I even have more than what I asked for, more than what I bargained for. And it's even a better future than I imagined. So I'll share with you what I wrote down. I knew the next person I date seriously, the next person I'm in a relationship with, I want to marry. I'm not going to settle for boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not going to settle for any sort of intimacy before there's at least the commitment that I want. And the commitment that I want is an engagement ring and a wedding date. That was my boundary. And you need to decide that boundary now. What is it for you? That's what worked for me. For you, it might be, I don't want to commit until they meet my family and they decide to meet my family. I don't push them to do that. You decide what it is. I personally don't believe in boyfriend, girlfriend. I think it's kind of playing house. It's playing an imaginary outcome that never quite comes. I just don't believe in it. I don't support it. So I chose not to do boyfriend, girlfriend. I just chose to get to know somebody. And I want to see how far they would take it. I want to see if they offered to meet my family, if they offered to come to my neighborhood to take me on a date, if they want to, have me meet their parents also and involve me with their friend group. I just wanted to see it play out without the expectations of intimacy, without the expectations of I do this, you do that, or I pay for this, you pay for that. I didn't want that. I didn't want high stakes. I wanted to get to know someone, get the hard conversations up front, really be vulnerable. And if they weren't the right person, I was ready to walk away. I was ready to say, okay, this isn't the one. I need to move on, even if it's fucking painful. I have to move on. I have to assess reality. There has to be checks and balances within my dating life, so it doesn't put me in turmoil. It doesn't put me in any situation I don't want to be in. So decide your boundaries now and write them down. For women, I recommend that you don't become boyfriend, girlfriend. I recommend you don't go over a guy's house until there's at least engagement. or at least families are involved on both ends. I recommend that you don't put yourself in a position where there's alcohol, drugs, late night partying, anything that puts you at risk. And I know some women might say, but that's part of the process. That's part of the dating process to see if we're compatible. And for some women, they say, that's my right to check intimacy, to check intimate compatibility. But I actually don't believe that's correct. I think your safety far rides all of those things. I think your safety and your well-being go far beyond letting the night get out of hand or spending time alone with a guy that isn't fully committed to you. I think your safety is worth its weight far beyond gold, far beyond diamonds, far beyond anything in this world. You need to remain safe. I highly recommend that you set a hard boundary. So that's number one. And again, this will scare away 90% of men. Most men will not want to deal with that. Most men will say, we've been dating for 2 months and you don't want to come to my apartment, we're done. I've had men literally give me ultimatums like, well, I'm traveling to you for 5 hours, so I need to sleep at your apartment. And I would say, no, you're not sleeping here. And they'd say, then I can't come then that's it. So that let me know that the men who would say that, the men who would put my safety in a predicament, that would put my boundaries at risk for their benefit, were never the one. The one will never put your boundaries in a position where you have to choose between your dignity and what they want to continue the relationship. That should never, ever be it. So I highly recommend you decide hard boundaries now and you don't let the night get away from you. And it's no judgment. Honestly, it's no judgment. I want you to be comfortable, and it doesn't matter how comfortable you are. You cannot predict what someone will do behind closed doors. This is not coming from religion. This is not coming from judgment. This is coming from woman to woman, that your safety is number one. So I had that really hard boundary that I was not going to let that happen. So most men ran. But the ones who stayed were the men who were family oriented, who wanted to be with me, wanted to make me happy, and wanted to find the one. They were in the same mindset and they understood. So you'll automatically weed out the duds just by having those boundaries. Okay, the next step, once you have those boundaries, you kind of need to see, is this person actually interested beyond superficial reasons? Are they interested in my heart? Are they interested in me as a person? And then see, are you interested in them in the same way? An example is before the first date even ends, or the whatever date, they're already trying to schedule a new date with you. Okay, that shows that they're really freaking interested. That shows that they are really trying to take things to the next level. I would be concerned if the date ends, they go ghost, they don't check if you got home okay, they just kind of disappear. And then when the next weekend rolls around, hey, what are you up to? Do you want to go out? It seems nice. It seems like, okay, they're giving you their space, they're giving you distance, they're giving you time, but that's not someone who's interested. That's someone who's just, they're kind of playing hard to get in a way. And that's not what you want. You want someone who is interested beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is how you're going to assess reality. When it's time to see each other, do they ask, you come to me or meet me halfway? Or do they say, you know what? I'm going to come to you. When they come to you, it means they're very invested in the outcome. It means, you know what? They're going to put 100% effort. They're going to give 100%. And even if it doesn't work out, it's going to be okay. My fiance said that the reason he put in so much effort traveling to see me, oftentimes 6 hours round trip, is because he met me and he knew that I was going to be the one. He said he knew the first date, this is the one, and I will inconvenience myself to make sure I put in 100% effort. Because he said if it doesn't work out At least I know there's nothing I could have done differently. At least I know I went all the way. I did what I could to, be a gentleman, to go out of my way for her. That's what he said. He said, I just, with every other, ooh, my camera's shaking. He said with every other woman, he was like, you know what, we could meet halfway. Or this time you can come to me. Or, you know what, this time we'll just get coffee. This time we'll just go to a museum. He said he was like that. He just wanted to preserve his own stamina. He wanted, like, subconsciously, not even on purpose. He was like, you know what, I'm not going to go all out for this. Until he met me. Until he met a game changer. So that's how you can assess if the guy is actually interested. He will fucking inconvenience himself in order to be with you. And he's not going to push your boundaries. He's not going to, try to get in your face every 10 seconds. Men who are interested in you, yes, they will try to kiss you. Yes, they might try to invite you back to their place. But they're not going to put you in a position to lose you. Where a lot of men that are not like seeing you as the one, they will risk it. They will risk completely losing you to have one night with you. And that is not it. So the men who really push, really force, really put you in a predicament to be with you, and this happens so much, oh my goodness, especially my New York girlfriends. New York ladies, if you're watching this, I've heard so many horror stories. Like, a man recently did this to one of my girlfriends. He was like, I have a gift for you, but I left it in my apartment. So after dinner, you're going to have to come back. But don't worry, it's a 2-minute walk. So basically, he planned the date 2 minutes from his apartment. He dangled the carrot of a gift to get her to come to his place. And he made sure it was a convenient enough distance, and he made sure it was late enough to make it uncomfortable for her to leave. She ended up getting the gift, but it put her in such a position that she was like so freaked out. And she was like, I don't even know how that happened or what happened. It's like just one step after the next. Yeah, I mean, it happens. Like, some guys can be master manipulators and try to get you in a position where it's like hard to say no, and like they're offering to do something nice to you, so you think, well, the next best step is to just go ahead and go on with it. But that's not the case. Another one is, I don't know, guys trying to guilt you. Like, oh, I have work. Can you come meet me here? I really want to see you. But it will be very obvious the ones who are willing to go out of their way for you and the ones who are not willing to go out of their way for you. So just continuously assess reality. Where are we meeting? When are we meeting? What plans are we making? Who's the one inconveniencing themselves? And stay far away from men who try to share the burden of inconvenience with you. In the beginning, yes, it's a courtship. I'm sorry, the burden of inconvenience falls on the man. It's just the way it is. The burden of inconvenience falls on the man in the beginning. Later on, once you guys are married, I feel the woman takes a lot of the responsibility, especially when kids are involved. It's just natural. It's just the way it is. And in the beginning, that is not correct. It falls on the man. So keep that in mind. Okay, and the last step I want you to consider when you're in a relationship that moves quickly from dating to marriage, it can happen, and it can happen without a situationship. As I said, it can happen quickly for you. You must stand 10 toes down. Remember the boundaries I told you to write in the beginning of the video? Look at them again. And next to that, you must write 5 things that you want. But here's the catch. They cannot be monetary related, cannot have to do with money. And they cannot be physical looks related. So you cannot say, I want a 6-foot-tall blonde who's making $319,000. You can't say that. It needs to be from the heart. What you are allowed to say is how you want to feel. I want to feel very attracted to my person. I want to feel comfortable in our home together. I want to feel supported by him. I want to feel like I'm relieved and don't have to worry about finances. You know, you can write down how you want to feel. You can write down how the love is going to feel. I feel like we share a deep love. We feel the same lust for adventure together. Means he's fun, he's exciting. I feel like we have such a stable connection. He's emotionally healthy. Write those things down. And then when you meet someone, you have to assess your boundaries every time you meet someone, and you have to assess the list that you wrote down, around 5 things that you want in a man. So when you meet someone, you can refer to that list, and you can also write down a few hard no's. So for me, hard no's: smoking, drinking, drugs, addictive behavior, pornography, things like that. Being nasty and rude, things like that. So if I ever saw those things, like if I caught on he was like very manipulative or didn't treat women well, or he had he was drinking a little too much, I would have to move on, because automatically I knew he wasn't the one, because the one will not have you go against your boundaries and your values. And that was important to me. Okay, so this is how you can kind of maintain checks and balances, and also leave leeway for people to be human. People will be imperfect. People will forget that you have a date, for example. Maybe not on purpose. They'll be like, oh shit, I thought today was Tuesday, but it's Thursday. Like, I'm working, I'm in a different state. Oh my goodness, how can I make it up to you? Okay, allow people to be human. But do not bend on your boundaries. Do not bend on your boundaries. And if you want this to happen quickly for you, you could be engaged to your perfect person this year. Do not become his girlfriend. When I was in the process of dating for marriage, I knew I didn't want to become someone's girlfriend. I didn't want to have sleepovers and invite someone to cross my boundaries. But it's not the norm in America. I couldn't find anyone who was doing this, so I would Google and YouTube relentlessly relationships without sex, and it was just men complaining about women. Or no sex before commitment. I was Googling these different things and trying to find women that were like me, and I finally found it. I finally found a small niche group of women online who wanted to find the one but didn't want to cross their own boundaries. And I know if you're watching this video, that's probably you. And yes, you can do it. I'm telling you, I got engaged in 4 months. I was single for years. For 3 years, almost 4 years, I was single as fuck. Okay, I didn't have anybody. I scared away 90% of guys because of my boundaries, because they knew they had to step up fast and be a man. They had to step up like yesterday or get out. That scared away most men. When I started dating my fiance, there was one other guy who was pursuing me heavily. He was Russian. And I noticed that sometimes Eastern cultures will align with these values a lot better. But, this isn't specific to any culture, but I noticed most American men did not fuck with me. They were like, I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot. I'm very passionate. Most American men didn't want anything to do with me, okay? But a lot of men from Eastern cultures were like, yes, this is my lady. So he was pursuing heavily, respecting my boundaries, showing up for me. But I felt something wasn't quite right. I felt he's great. I feel we can have a great future. Something's a little off, you know what I mean? Like, there were a few things I didn't love, but I was like, okay, I can compromise on this. This isn't a deal breaker. He doesn't meet my deal breakers. He doesn't cross my boundaries. Things are okay, But as soon as I met my now fiance, I was like, oh my God, everything makes sense. And I was dating multiple people in the beginning, but once we met and we had a discussion about commitment, I didn't commit to him right away, but I decided to stop dating other people because I knew it was a dead end. I thought, I've kept my options open and I haven't crossed any boundaries. I haven't invited intimacy or anything. And I'm ready to just date this one person and see where it goes. But I didn't tell him that, of course. And after about a month, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I said, I really love where this is going. I really care about you. I just don't want to be in a position where I'm held to the expectation of being someone's girlfriend. I want to get to know the person I'm meant to be with and see if it's right for marriage. Like, I want marriage. That's what I want. And he was shocked. He was like, what? Like, oh, I didn't know women like you existed. That's all that's all he said. He was like, okay. Like, his mind was boggled. He was like, oh, that's what I want. I didn't know women like you existed. Oh, okay. When can I meet your family? I was like, dang, like, it's only been 1 month and I'm scared to have him meet my family, because what if things don't work out and then I'm going to feel embarrassed? Like, I already invited him into my family community, my family space, and now things don't work out. Oh my God. But I just had a good feeling. So I was like, we can meet my family. How about next month? They're really busy people. So at least I was going to give it like a 2-month buffer of getting to know each other before family was introduced. And he actually said to me, I don't feel comfortable continuing without meeting each other's family. And his family doesn't live here, but at least I would meet his family on FaceTime. He would meet my family in person. And that's what we did. He said he felt like he wanted to hold me in the highest respect, in the highest regard. And he felt to do that, he didn't want to date me in secret. He wanted to date where he met my parents. He met my dad. He met my mom, my aunt, my grandma, my uncle. And he met my dad and my mom at first, and the aunts and uncles slowly trickled in leading up to engagement. And then after engagement, he met like probably 50 of my family members, much more of my family members. So that all happened relatively fast, but that happened because there were no games. Like, when you meet the one, things just make sense. And had I bent on my boundaries earlier, I would probably be in a shitty situationship. I would probably have settled, because when you bend on your boundaries and you settle for things that don't align with you, this is your worldview. Like, oh, okay, the only men available in the whole entire world are this group of men, these men that play games, these men who drink, these men who want to be in a 2-year talking situationship, in a 5-year girlfriend-boyfriend situationship. That's all that's available to me. And it feels hard to shift out of that. I get it. It was really, really hard. I was single as can be for years. And I was like, you know what? I love and respect myself. Thank you very much. I will not settle for this. I will be single until it feels right. And I trusted that either I'd find the one and live happily ever after, or I would be single for life. And I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? Let me work on my master's. Let me fast track my bachelor's. Let me apply for PhD. Let me finish my school. Let me become a doctor and be my best self and fulfill every single one of my dreams. And that'll be that. And that's what I started to work on. And as soon as I made that shift, like, I'm not bending my boundaries. I'm not going to be with a man who's sleeping with 3 other women in New York City. I'm not going to be with a man who drinks and drives. I'm not going to be with a man who acts like a fool and is playing it cool. You know what I mean? Like a guy who's like, I don't know. I'm not in a rush. Let's just see where it goes. If he uses the phrase, see where it goes, run. Shut the fuck up, run. You will not see where it goes. You deserve respect, and you deserve to know what it is up front. Like, in the first 90 days, have those hard conversations. That's my suggestion for everyone. Stick to your boundaries. Stick to your boundaries. Stick to your boundaries. Stand 10 toes down on them. Do not budge. Get ready to run if you see red flags that you wrote down. The red flags for me, again, I'll repeat them. Addictive behavior of any sort, abusive behavior towards women, children, or people in general, and indifference. I forgot to mention that. Indifference, like, they'll call you when they call you. They'll get around to you. They'll put you on the back burner, and then they'll get to you. Absolutely not. You have to move on, okay? So once all those things are in check, you would have scared away most of the population. And that's the point. The point is to scare away as many as possible, because you don't need to marry 100 men. Just one man. And when you meet that one man, it's quantum leap. A quantum leap, the definition is no distractions. It's that easy. No distractions. So refer back to all the other steps I just said. boundaries, 10 toes down, get ready to run if you need to, okay? Quantum leap. You will be engaged in a few months, I'm telling you. And we're doing a bit of, the engagement is going to be longer than our relationship just because we're getting to know the hard parts of each other inside of our family and community support, inside of an engagement. Like, this feels very committed. I'm planning to live at home with my family until we are married. And we already have a wedding date settled. So I'm happy to live here. And we won't move in with each other until marriage. We're still, letting things unravel as they will with the support of both of our families. And it's a really, really beautiful, beautiful plan. And that was all along, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be someone who shacks up with a guy, someone who moves in with a guy before marriage. I never wanted that. I want our wedding day to be the day we move in together. I never wanted to invite someone to bend and twist my boundaries. And to be honest, engagement is way different than dating. And each layer has its beauty. And I'm overjoyed with the gratitude and support from both sides of our family because we did it in such an intentional way. And he kept saying to me throughout our engagement, like, I can't believe you didn't want to be my girlfriend. I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, he kept saying, I don't get it. I'm like, we're engaged now. Like, why does it matter? We're engaged. And finally, like, he brought it up again the other night and he's like, you know what? We were having dinner and he's like, I actually respected you a lot more when you refused to be my girlfriend. He said, I really respected you a lot more. Like, he's like, I still don't understand why you did it, but I really respect it. And I told him, like, my answer is the same. I didn't want to have false expectations and hopes of each other because then one argument, one fight can shatter the whole thing. Then we're cosplaying, we're LARPing around as husband and wife without the, emotional barriers and balances that we need. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to slam the door on a healthy, stable relationship before it had time to naturally unfold. And he's like, yeah, I get it. So he's still talking about that. And it's actually funny, after I declined to be his girlfriend and I told him what I wanted, it was a few months away from Valentine's Day. And then he was like, I need to ask you to be my Valentine. I don't want any other guy asking you to be their Valentine. Like, will you be my Valentine? Like, he was on it. He was not letting me slip and slide. He was not allowing it. So I'm telling you, like, when you stand your boundaries, the right guy, like, it will click and the wrong one will run. I cannot tell you how many guys have sent me angry messages after a third date or a fifth date. Date number 5 is a magic number. Guys will be so freaking pissed at you or they will be so grateful for you. Okay, so they will either be livid that you won't go to their apartment, that you will not be their girlfriend, that you will not cross boundaries, that you will not move in with them, you will not, drink with them. They will be livid. They will send you messages like, I don't understand what your problem is. Allow me to be with you. Yeah, this is how you be with me. You show up consistently, love me for who I am, and you let things unfold. The guy who's the one will not be in a rush. If a guy is consistently pushing, questioning, and complaining about your boundaries, you need to run. So that is the message I have for you today. And I'm very passionate about this topic. And I'll be talking a lot more about it. So stay tuned.